So reinventing money. First question is, why do we even need to reinvent money? It's working, it's well. So what sort of transaction do we see in our daily life? We have the face-to-face transaction. Alice wants to pay Bob something, she meets him, she pays for it. Seems to be working pretty well. It has some limitations though. Even though it's easy, it's fast, it's secure, no fees, it's natural. We have some problems with that. First of all, it's very local. It has no scale. It's limited, and essentially it's primitive. This is how we used to live. So what's new? We have traditional banks, credit cards. I can wire money. I can swipe my card. I can use PayPal. The good thing about it, and this is why we're using it, and this is why it represents 99% of what we're doing, is the fact it's reliable. It has a very good user experience. I'm just swiping my card and getting something out of it. It's pretty safe. If I have problems, I can just open a dispute in PayPal and someone will help me. Problem is first of all the fees. If you ever tried sending money overseas, you know you pay immense fees and it will take you 5 days. Approval rate. A lot of the industries, not only the industries we consider with moral problems, has serious problems with accepting cards. You can be in Turkey, want to pay for something and your card won't go, for instance. You can be in Israel and you want to buy a Bitcoin and you can't with a credit card. So approval rate is another problem. Being as it may, it's a centralized system. A centralized system costs a lot of money and has a lot of limitations. And as everybody knows, and I'm sorry for the banks in the room, nobody likes the banks. Last but not least, about 2 billion people in the world have no access to serious financial systems and cards and so on and so forth. And again, 2 billion people. So this system is not perfect at all, and along comes cryptocurrency, which is great. It's a trustless system, right? I don't need people in the process to let me know that this guy's okay, that he has money and I can actually receive funds from him. It's decentralized, which is also awesome. But cryptocurrencies are not very suitable for payments today. The reason is, first of all, the price is too volatile. I'm not going to accept money that I know might change its rate in 50% in 2 months. It has very, very low scale. Bitcoin can transact with about 7 to 20 transactions per second. Visa and MasterCard can do around 60,000 transactions per second. So we have a serious problem of scale. Slow confirmation. It might take you up to 3 hours to get reassured that your Bitcoin was received. I'm not going to stand in a cafe and wait the next 3 hours to make sure that money is transferred, right? Doesn't make any sense. And the user experience is nothing else than horrible. Horrible. Did you see my Ether wallet? It's like someone is doing that so you won't use Ether. It's complicated. It has no consumer protection. Okay, if you're going to try and send money to the wrong address, that's just your problem, right? So it's a very bad user experience, and I think this is why cryptocurrencies these days are not really meant for payments. They are more of a store of value. They are more like assets that we move around, and you can imagine me carrying around my lump of gold, wanting to pay for something, then just shiving some of the top, putting it on the scale, making sure it's going well. Doesn't make any sense, and this is why cryptocurrencies are not suitable for payments as it is. So what is Koti? Koti is a new type of money. This is what we have invented. Koti is simple, it's instant, it's scalable, it's safe, it's licensed, it's decentralized, and it has low to zero fees. So how do we able to pull that? And this is, by the way, a good comparison to major card networks, digital currencies, and Koti. Right? You see, we claim that we are better than most in all parameters. And how are we able to pull something like that, to pull a digital currency that is more suitable to payments than anything else? First of all, technology-wise, blockchain, and I don't want to get too techy about it, but the way blockchain works with the main chain is not very scalable. One block needs to be filled before the next one. I'm not going to drag you through all of that, but what we've built is a different data structure. We didn't invent it. It's called DAG, Direct Acyclic Graph. It's a different data structure that is more useful when you do mass transactions with very little payload. All right, so this is our first choice was using DAG. Second is something that we've invented that we call trust chains. Now, payments is something very intimate. When you pay for something, it's very intimate, and you gotta have a lot of trust. This is the reason why people still stand in line in banks, even though they can process anything with their mobile phone, they wanna talk to the man, right? It's all a matter of trust. When I'm paying you something, we don't pay fees because I see you, I can pay for that. I need a credit card companies to stand in the way because I don't trust the person on the other side. What we've built is inside our base protocol, we've embedded something we call trust chains. Now, whenever you join Cody, you get an initial trust score because you do a know your client process with that. Cody is not, it's private, but it's not anonymous, so we know who you are, and you get an initial score, and it's generative and it changes throughout time by your behavior. So if you're a good player, the trust score goes up. And the way we confirm transactions is someone with a high score confirms someone else with a high score, and he confirms someone else with a high score, and so on and so forth. And this sort of transactions move really fast on the net and has very little fees. And it makes sense. If I'm trusting a transaction, it's okay for me that it will go faster and I'll pay little fees. If I'm not sure about that, it just takes more time to confirm. All right? And by doing that, we are able to essentially process any deal in the world. So if a merchant does not process 80% of the traffic he's getting or the deal he's getting, say he's a poker room, and he can process like 80% of the cards, we are able to offer him, hey, we can deal with each and every transaction on a personal level and not on a category level. So this is fairly new and it will make a revolution for merchants. Last but not least is the mediators, right? I want to know that if I'm paying something and it's not working well, I did not get the product I've just bought, I want to know that I can open a dispute and someone will help me. So how do you do that decentrally? Because if you're doing it on PayPal and these other, someone there, that's his work, he's looking at cases and he decides either way. We needed to have that decentralized, because if you want to process any deal in the world, we're not going to employ 3,000 people doing that, or the millions that we will need, right? So what we've done is certain nodes in our network, which are personal people, can become mediators. They're staking some of their money, and then they decide who's right and who's wrong. And by doing that, by staking some of their money to vote who's right and who's wrong, and lose if they're not with the consensus, we have some very decentralized form of dispute resolution. We're building a full ecosystem, okay, from the ground up. We have our own coin. Again, not a token, a coin, because we are building our own base protocol. We're going to have our own exchange in the next coming month. And if you use Cody in our exchange to buy any other cryptocurrency, you're not going to pay fees on our spread. A wallet app, of course, and a debit card. So your whole financial world can be done with Cody. So this is just a sample of the people in our team. We have some good blockchain experts, Stas and Sebastian from Wings. We have the former Chief Investment Officer of BlackRock, Dr. Matt McBrady, Dr. Tzvi Gabay, who is Head of Enforcement in the Israeli SEC, Stephen Helborn, CEO of Investec Banks, Processing.com, top researchers, and this is the only way to build such a product. That was Cody. This is me. Feel free to send me an email about anything, or just log into Cody to learn more of what we're doing and read our white paper. My time is up. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
What's the distribution model for your network? Who's actually holding the full nodes?
Who's holding? He asked about the distribution model of our network.
Who's holding the nodes?
The nodes. Okay, so the nodes can be are held by anybody who's done a KYC process. Not like it is, for instance, for IOTA or Echo or places like that. Yes.
go-to-market strategy? How are payees going to start?
We've done a good question. Because in our lives, we've seen the rise of only two networks that are not Visa and MasterCard, Discover and PayPal. So obviously it's not an easy thing to do. Our go-to is, we've signed an exclusive partnership with processing.com, giving us access to 10,000 merchants. And we're also giving away our wallet for free with your first 100 coding in it to increase consumer adoption. And if you log into coding, you can get your wallet for free, but do that in 10 days from now, please.
Can you explain any regulation effort about coding? So it will be so regulator will treat coding as a coin and not as an asset?
Very good one. What we've done, we've understood. It's okay that I'm taking. Wonderful, thank you. Jewish, yeah, for sure. We got all night, guys. We've applied for a DLT license in Gibraltar. And we are right now at what they call the Godfather period of that. So we are licensed to operate a distributed ledger technology company. Second thing was understanding what regulators will want. So our network is not anonymous. You won't be able to use that to buy drugs, guns, or whatever. I mean, you can, but your name will be behind it, so don't try. And we got legal opinions from here to forever on how exactly to structure the payment mechanism is so that we will fit with whatever regulation might want in the future.
Yes.
Last question.
How do you handle volatility?
Oh, smart question. Great. So what we've done is two things. First, we have some reserve that is there for stabilization in price fluctuation. And the second thing is that we've built a marketplace for hedging. So a merchant essentially can hedge almost 100% of the quota he's getting for 30 days. And we invite market makers inside our network to take a little interest to do the market making for the coin. And of course, it's a serious concern if you're holding money that price won't be volatile. All right, you'll see me again in a few minutes, so thank you.